Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Legal Talk Tuesday. I'm Crystal I. Myers, Esquire, founder and principal attorney of Be Bossy, a boutique firm with a primary focus on meeting the intellectual property and business legal needs of small to mid-sized businesses. Before we get into this week's topic, let me remind you that this video is solely for educational and informational purposes only. Everything that I say or do in this video is for those purposes and not with the intention of creating an attorney-client relationship between me and any of you. Now that we have that out of the way, let's get into this week's topic. Trademark registration can be tricky, which is why it is highly recommended that you rely on the expertise of an IP attorney when seeking trademark registration. If you have been following me for a while now, you've probably heard me talk about not aiming for simple when it comes to naming your intellectual properties. Generally speaking, I encourage everyone to be creative and use what we call in the IP world fanciful terms in an effort to increase your chances of a successful trademark registration. I decided today it would be a good idea to take it a step further and look at the 6 most common reasons for trademark registration refusal. First, likelihood of confusion. Likelihood of confusion is the most common reason an application will be rejected by the USPTO. Essentially, if there is a high probability that a consumer will confuse your trademark with someone else's already existing trademark, your registration will not be granted. Note the 2 marks need not be identical. Additionally, no actual confusion need be proved to invalidate or refuse your mark. It is sufficient that the mark is similar enough to cause a likelihood of confusion. Second, merely descriptive or deceptively misdescriptive. A merely descriptive mark is one that simply identifies a quality, function, or characteristic of the related service or product. On the other hand, a deceptively misdescriptive mark is one where the mark misdescribes a quality, function, or characteristic of the related service or product. So while it may sound catchy, it's basically false advertising. The third common reason is geographically descriptive or geographically deceptively misdescriptive. If your mark is geographically descriptive, that means it primarily indicates rather accurately the geographic region or origin of the product or service. If your mark is geographically deceptively misdescriptive, that means it primarily falsely indicates the product's geographic origin or region. This reason is pretty straightforward. Fourth is scandalous, disparaging, or immoral. It is important to note that this reason is a reason to refuse registration and a reason to cancel an existing registration. While this reason is straightforward enough, I like to point to the Washington Redskins trademark debacle to provide an example here. I think it's enough said. Keep in mind, even if the measure of a name being scandalous, disparaging, or immoral is highly subjective, in the IP world, context is extremely important, okay? The 5th most common reason for refusal is ornamentation. This means the applied for mark is merely a decoration or a decorative feature. The thought behind these types of refusals is that flourishes and ornamentations must be available to competitors. Lastly, a trademark registration can be refused because the mark is merely a surname. To be clear, if the public associates your last name with the mark, as opposed to associating your last name with the product or the primary significance of the mark is a surname, you won't be successful in seeking trademark registration. While there are other reasons, these are the most common reasons for refusal. It is important to note that while it may seem like receiving a refusal for one of these common reasons may be the end of the road for your trademark dreams, there is a potential to overcome all of these objections with the right argument. This is one of the many reasons you should hire an experienced IP attorney when attempting trademark registration. It's a risky and rather nuanced area of law, and you want to make sure that you are well represented. If you need assistance navigating the trademark registration process, or if you have other business legal needs, head over to my website, www.thebossyapproach.com, and book an appointment with me so that we can chat further. While you're there, be sure to check out the Bossy Boutique, where you'll find a variety of merchandise, everything from t-shirts to mugs to tote bags and other novelty items. We also have our Be Bossy business planner, workbooks, templates, and other resources. Well, that'll do it for this week's episode. Until next time, be bold, be brave, be bossy. See ya.